Elite live streams. We back at it again. How are you guys doing out there? What's good? It's your boy Brandon B, Elite Media. We back with another live stream. How you guys doing out there? Welcome. This is a late night stream, a little bit different. We trying a different time slot to see what happens, just trying to make it happen. This topic, I had to make sure that I did this today. While it's on my mind, while it's still fresh in my head, I wanted to make sure that I touched on this subject because it's been on something that I've been kind of peeping. We've been watching over these last couple of days, these last couple of weeks. We've been seeing a lot going on within the United States, within the community, and we got a lot to talk about. All right. So, first things first, the title, like it says, Foundational Black Americans warned everyone and they chose not to listen, right? What am I talking about? Okay, well, I'm glad you asked. So, lately, we just saw Miss Renee getting unalived at the ICE protest, right? And also, there's a big uproar that's going on in Minnesota. And so many foundational Black Americans have been talking about this for a very long time, right? We've been talking about the fact that police brutality and the militarization of the police. We also tried to warn people about Donald Trump and what he might have been up to, right? We try to let everyone know, hey guys, be careful, man, because we know what's coming. And you guys should definitely probably listen to us because we have a very strong history that understands and has studied these people that a lot of you guys are dealing with today. And so once that kind of started to drum up, it made me really understand that it's kind of crazy that for so long, Black Americans have been talking about what's currently, right, happening to everyone else, right? And so they're looking at us to be the ones to get in front of this, right? To be the ones to take the brunt of this, to be the ones to get out here and fight. And a lot of foundational Black Americans are just saying no. They're just saying we're good. We've done what we had to do. We've already fought enough. And now that this fight is on you guys, it's time for y'all to stand up. It's time for you guys to do your part. It's time for you guys to get out here and make it happen. And so that I think is one of those things that really made me feel some type of way. And then I started coming across, right, all these other situations, right? Like, for instance, we just saw the fake Black Panther, right? Him getting outed as someone who looks like a government agent and somebody who is using, right, the Black Panther organization to push an agenda that he already has, right? So we're starting to see now a lot of confusion, a lot of people trying to infiltrate, a lot of people trying to align themselves so that they can be able to use foundational Black Americans and foundational Black bodies to be the ones to take the brunt for what they have planned, right? And so that was just something that, from my perspective, I really wanted to talk about. And that's why I'm here today, okay? Earlier, y'all saw they was playing a little bit with my live stream, but we back, even if it's late, because this is about making sure that I continue on my journey of documentation and also making sure that we are holding the line and being as consistent as we can be about what is happening right now in our communities, right? So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about what I have come across. Let's look at a few videos and let's have a little bit of commentary, right? So first things first, let's see if it'll work for me because, things have been kind of weird here. All right, there we go. Okay. So I came across this video. This young brother is talking about Trump is a perfect reflection of America. And I love the perspective that he had on this because it really does align with kind of my perspective and what I was thinking and how I've been feeling. A lot of foundational Black Americans have been feeling, right? So let's listen to his perspective, and then I'm going to come back with some commentary, all right? So listen to this.
The country isn't the way it is because of the president. We have the president we have because this country is the way it is, and I can prove it to you. My granddad fought in the Korean War back when, units were segregated to black units and white units. And when he was home on leave in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, it was him and a few of his friends that were also on leave, and they would always go on leave together because they wanted to feel like they had some sort of safety, which obviously was a fucking pipe dream back then. And while on leave, they decided that they were going to try to have a good night, have some fun, as people do. And they went to a movie theater, segregated movie theater. And after the movie, they wanted to go get something to eat. So they were going to walk to go get food. And while standing on a street corner waiting to cross the street, some white cops pulled up on them and said that they were loitering and they couldn't be there. And before giving them the chance to comply, because that's some of y'all's favorite saying is, well, if you just complied, they didn't give them a chance to. And my granddad watched one of his good friends get beaten to death on a street corner simply for existing while black.
All right. So there is a lot of talk, right? A lot of commentary, a lot of times where Black Americans will express these experiences that a lot of our ancestors have gone through, right? A lot of our elders, a lot of our grandparents, a lot of our great grandparents, our aunts and uncles who have experienced this level of racism, right? And they always try to make it seem like it's just so far removed from us, right? When in reality, these situations are literally 1 or 2 generations away from people, right? So close, like this young brother talked about. His grandfather was literally in the Korean War, got back, and his platoon, one of his platoon mates, was attacked and lynched while in uniform, right? And I love to always talk about the historical aspects of this, is because Black Americans, specifically foundational Black Americans, we've had so much connection to our history, and they try to make it seem like it's so far away, but it isn't. It isn't at all, actually. It's very, very close. And so I want to bring up a picture here, right? Let's bring it up here. Boom. This is my grandfather, right? This is my grandfather when he was in Korea. And as you can see with his platoons, that's my grandfather right there, the darkest one, right? This was not that long ago, guys. This was not that long ago. And I will repeat, this was not that long ago. Okay. A lot of our ancestors, a lot of our grandparents, great grandparents, great aunts, uncles have been through and experienced so much of this that we cannot sit back and allow anyone to disrespect or discredit our ancestors and everything that they've built, right? Everything that they fought for, all the things that they sacrificed for us as foundational Black Americans to be in the position that we are in today, right? These people right here in this platoon, okay, were out there in Korea fighting hard, okay? For what? To come back to America and be treated just like they didn't do anything, like they are just nothing, like they are less than humans. Okay. So when I try to really have people wrap their mind around how close, right? How close a lot of us are to this, this is exactly what I mean. And this young brother couldn't have articulated it better, right? So let's continue.
In uniform, by the way. In the uniform that was given to them by the country that they were fighting for, that clearly didn't give a fuck about them. This isn't a new thing. It's not an isolated thing for all the people who think that, oh, it's been so long since it's been bad for minorities or since it's been bad for Black people. That was pre-civil rights. That was pre-Rodney King. That was pre-Trayvon Martin. That was pre-Tamir Rice. That was pre-Alton Sterling. That was pre-Breonna Taylor. That was pre-Sandra Bland. That was pre-take your fucking pick. And now we're here. It's a domino effect. And now all these white people who finally understand what's going on because a white woman was killed. We've been telling y'all for a lot longer than the last 5, the last 10, the last 20, the last 30, the last.
What up, Randall? Was good, bro? Appreciate you always pulling up, man. You're my guy. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Welcome to the new stream. We talking and we chopping it up, man. Let's continue.
Last 40 years. If we don't matter to this country, eventually neither would you. And here we are. I hate to say I told you so. For my granddad, for all the ancestors past, I hate to say we told you so. But sometimes it simply just is what it is, my boy.
And that's it. I mean, honestly, salute to Randall, my brother. He said, I predicted this delineation in 1998. I'm white, though. Hey, man, look, this is something that I think we all can agree to and understand, that where we are at right now as foundational Black Americans is only because of us going outside of ourselves, constantly trying to warn people, trying to tell them, hey, this is what's going to happen. You guys need to listen to us, because if you don't, this is actually going to get bad. It's going to get worse for you guys. It's not going to be what you think. And at every turn, foundational Black Americans have been met with gaslighting, right? They're making us sound like we're crazy. They're telling us that we're complaining. They tell us to pull up our boots by our bootstraps. They tell us all types of outlandish things that do not align with reality. The reality was, hey guys, you guys should probably listen to us about police brutality, because it's not just going to be us. It's going to eventually be all of y'all. You guys should probably worry about these corporations buying up everything, because it ain't just going to be us struggling. It's going to be all of y'all. You guys should probably worry about all of these immigrants coming here illegally, because it ain't going to be us the only ones who are affected. It's going to be all of y'all. And nobody listened, man. Nobody listened. Everybody tried to gaslight Black Americans and tell us constantly, okay, constantly, that we're tripping, that we are lost, that we don't know what we're talking about, that we are literally playing the victim. They literally have created a mentality to say that Black folks have a victim mentality, because we are speaking out against the establishment and the government who is oppressing us and now is oppressing everyone else. And now we're supposed to go out here and fight for everybody else. Now it's our responsibility to go out here and help one another. Now it's Black Americans' responsibility, right? To unite everyone, right? To make everyone come together, right? It's on us to build the bridge of unity for everybody else. Meanwhile, nobody has done that for Black Americans. Nobody has built a bridge for us. Nobody has tried to go and ring the alarm for foundational Americans like we have for everyone else. We have gone out of our way to help. We have gone out of our way to warn people. We have gone out of our way to do studies and show the statistics that, hey guys, this doesn't look good. You guys should probably worry about this, because it's gonna get worse. And nobody listened, right? And so now we're starting to see everybody having their wake-up calls now, right? Everybody's starting to see the light. All of a sudden, everyone's starting to get it, right? Everyone understands now, which is easy, like crazy, bro. All right, salute to Randall. He back in the chat. Let's see if it comes up, man, because they playing games with me today. A Muslim brother told me in 2003 that there would be a Black president in 2008. I said towards the end of his term, white people would start hanging and police would start killing people in the streets more. And you was right, because a lot of us saw that coming. A lot of us knew when Barack Obama became president how that would shift the white nationalist mentality and how that would ramp up a lot of what we're starting to see now, right? Which is a lot of these people who are, in my opinion, it's a reverse victim card now. Now they're playing the victim. Going on. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. YouTube is doing something with my streams today. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, guys. It just keeps messing. I've literally tried to be online all day today, and it is just not cooperating, bro. I don't know what's up with YouTube today or why my specific is doing this, but it is just not, it's not rocking with me today, y'all. I don't know what's up, man. We gonna try to rock it, but it's just not letting me, bro. I don't know what's up, man. I hope I can keep going. You feel me? But damn. I don't know. I don't know what to say, y'all. YouTube is making it hard for me today to get this stream off. Yeah, I agree, Randall. They don't. I don't know what's going on, bro. I tried to come in earlier and it was worse earlier. At least now, like, it'll let me talk for a little bit, but earlier, bro, it was like every 5 seconds, bro, something was happening. 5 people will come in the talk, the stream, the chat, and then boom, it'll turn off. And I'm like, bro, like, I don't know, man. I mean, I think, there's definitely whatever, man. I don't know. So look, I'm gonna keep trying though, because that's just what I do. I'm gonna work with it, because we gonna work through this. All right. So look, I got another video for y'all that I'm about to pull up right here. Okay. So let's try our best to keep this going. I mean, it's raining right now in LA. I can't really say as far as like, what the server is doing, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not finna make no excuses. I'm just gonna keep rocking with it, because YouTube, notoriously, y'all know how YouTube be with Black creators. I'm just gonna save it and leave it right there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all could, you feel me, read between the lines. But now let me bring up this second video and see if this works. All right. So I got a video here, and this one as well is called Black Folks Have Been Warning Us, right? So let me bring this up for y'all. Let me see if it'll let me do it. Okay, boom. All right, now let's get started. Here we go. Let me hit play.
Let's talk about it. But if we're going to talk about it, let's really talk about it. Black folks have been warning us for a long time. And people not only haven't listened, but even with what's going on, people still don't want to listen. And I think this is a conversation that goes a lot deeper than even just the context of political discourse that surrounds us in America. This is a global phenomenon. But I want to start right here in the homeland, right here in the imperial core, because for one, I think Renee Good would want this to be talked about. I think the folks that have been suffering the brunt of state violence, which we are now becoming more and more unruly against, those folks would want this to be talked about the real way. Before I get into it, I just want to say I'm on break right now, so this is not the most organized type of conversation that I've, had. Just giving some thoughts while I am currently away from home. And I'm doing so off the cuff and in reaction to recent news.
So look, he is already speaking about the Renee Good situation, right? And this is the key part, is once this started to happen, it really started to open up people's minds to understanding that it wasn't just Black folks who was talking about what was happening and why police brutality and why the police state was so important for us to fight against, right? Why we had a problem very early on with what was happening to Black Americans right here in America. Why we would hit the streets, why we made such a big stink about what was going on in our communities, right? Because, like I mentioned, the police department and the entire construct of the police was based on what? Slave patrols and slave catching during the slave era, right? That was specifically what the arm of the police was created for. So naturally, as foundational Black Americans, we have a really, really specific and honed in detail and understanding of how these people work and what they're up to. From our perspective, all we were doing was raising an alarm, telling you guys, hey, we've been dealing with this for a minute, and you guys should probably worry about it because eventually it's going to actually affect all of us. And mind you, foundational Black Americans are the only people who have gone out of their way to do this type of work with no actual return. Nobody helping us, nobody patting us on the back for it, no credit. All right. We did this with nothing. All right. And to have all that information, to have all of that history, and for people to still ignore, that's where I'm at with it. That's where he's at with it. It's like there has to be a certain level where enough is enough because we've already done this, man. It's crazy. Hey, salute to Randall. He said, I kneeled for 2 years in semi-pro football. 2 years before Colin did. I got the same response. They couldn't comprehend the real reason why I did it. And that's just what it was, man. A lot of people took a knee, respectively, right? Meaning like we had already known that when people go to put their right hand on their heart and pledge allegiance to the flag, that when you're doing that, it was in vain to all the people who had fought for this country and still were treated less than in their own home. All right. That's why I made it clear to start with that first video, is where he spoke about the men, the foundational Black American men who went over to Korea, who went over to Europe, who went over to all of these countries, and then just to come back and be treated exactly like crap is just insane. It's insane. He says, I just turned my back on the flag now. Yeah, I mean, I don't participate in, anything that has to do with an allegiance to a flag that does not respect the foundational Black Americans who built and created that flag, who created the freedoms that a lot of these people are able to actually feel and experience and enjoy. Meanwhile, foundational Black Americans have to continuously fight. We're still fighting, right? Whether we're out there or not, guys, we are still fighting. And don't you ever freaking forget it, all right? So let's continue with this video, all right?
I don't think I need to remind you of that recent news. Of course, American imperialism in Latin America and Africa comes to mind, in Asia comes to mind. Of course, European imperialism comes to mind. Shout out to Norway. Norway gets away with a lot. It's also, of course, a reaction to the, American Gestapo, the ICE shootings, multiple, plural shootings and killings that have occurred, not just the videotaped incident in Minnesota, but in several incidences over the past years, with special attention being brought toward it right now. And of course, I want to say that I'm glad that more and more people are becoming aware, getting more politically engaged, getting more outraged. But outrage can only do so much. If your outrage is reduced to anger that you take out online and catchphrases that you sling around and one or two little protest walks, that outrage is more so in service of your own ego than it is.
And that's the key. What he just said right there, right, is the fact that like Black Americans have noticed and realized that us getting out here and us protesting and us creating so much of an uproar did nothing. It did absolutely nothing for us. All that did was create more turmoil, more hate, right? And so once we started to realize that this wasn't working, we're like, no, we got to organize better. We got to figure out a different way, because the protest route and the way that we're drumming up attention for these people who deserve this attention, it's not working. So we're going to have to figure out a different way to go about this. And so what did we do collectively? Collectively in 2024, everyone decided, all right, guys, we're going to try to make sure we get on one accord and vote for our best interest, right? That was what we were trying to do in 2024. In 2025, what did we find out? We found out that everybody else voted for Trump. All right, behind our backs, behind us warning them, behind us giving them the advice that they needed necessary to say, hey, man, you probably shouldn't vote for Donald Trump. They didn't listen. And since then, it has been up. Ever since then, it has been a no hold barred on everyone who did not listen to foundational Black Americans. I cannot really express what this feeling is. It's a very like emotional feeling, because I don't want to walk around and act like, oh, we were so self-righteous and we knew it was going to happen. But spiritually, we all feel that, right? You feel that, right? I feel that, right? And the feeling is vindication. The feeling is confirmation. The feeling is delineation. That's all, man. That's all I feel. I feel vindicated. I feel completed. I feel like delineation is exactly the move that has to be made, because there is too much going on and too many people playing with foundational Black Americans. They playing with us in our face. And so for us, it was time for us to say, I bet y'all know so much. Y'all know better. Y'all know everything and we don't. Cool. Let us just back up and y'all got it. Now y'all get out here and handle it. Y'all go out here and see what's up, right? And so this leads into my brother Randall's question. I wanted to make sure I set it up before I answered this, but he said, what do you think about the new Black Panther Party? Mr. Randall, there is no new Black Panther Party. These are government agents who I've spoke about on this channel before, okay? I posted a live stream and video that said what? That told Black Americans to stay focused, right? To stay focused, because I knew one or two things was going to happen. One was going to be that they were going to try to radicalize the term foundational Black American, which they have, right? Which they have. They've tried to make it seem like foundational Black Americans is some cult, or that we're some crazy group and we're a lineage. All right. So that already happened, right? Second phase, queer pro quo. Queer pro quo. All right. Let's talk about queer pro quo. All right. Let's talk about the infiltration. Okay. Which is now happening. Second phase, infiltration. Okay, now they are trying to infiltrate into the community using what? Specific language, specific organizations, specific looks to make foundational Black Americans say, oh, the Panthers is out there? No, the Panthers are not out there. There's a brother wearing a costume saying that he is a part of an organization that he has no factual duties or history to back this up. I need to see your work, right? And as everyone who is a part of this community on the internet, I beg you all, please make sure that we start making people show their work. If you say that you are a Black Panther, where is the history? Let me see you out here in the community. Where is the activism? Where is the picture history of this? We cannot continue to let people get on the internet without showing their work. Remember in school, if you were going through a math equation, you had to break it down simply. And then what did you have to also do? Show your work. So now this is what we're doing. We are making people show their work. And that's why it was so easy for him to get outed as a liar, for him to get outed as somebody who was a fake agent. Because this is the internet. Nothing goes away. Okay? Listen, there will be a time when we all reach a certain level of status. And then people will look into you. They will ask questions. They will say, who are you? Where'd you come from? Who's your family? And look, why are we not doing this, huh? Hey, salute, JNN. I hope you subscribe, bro. I hope you subscribe because YouTube playing with your boy. And we having some technical difficulties, but trust me, I should be way higher than where I am right now. And I can prove it. And I will eventually. All right. I just can't do it right now because I'm still on the come up. But trust me, when I do, I swear to God, bro. I swear to God, bro, it's gonna be on. Trust me, JNN. Trust me, bro. Salute. V, salute to you. I hope that you subscribe. Please subscribe because we're doing this hard every day, bro. So many good channels I'm finding with our people speaking truth. Yes, sir. Hey, we got to get out here, man, because listen, this is now what they're trying to do. Now let me speak on the third phase. The first phase was what? The first phase was them trying to create and radicalize the term foundational Black American, right? That was the first phase. Second phase, infiltration, right? So they're using people, government agents, people who look like us to put on costumes and cosplay to make it seem like they're with us. And then right when it's time, they flip and they switch it, right? Like I could also speak on, because we talked about the fake Black Panther Party. We can also speak on that kid, Antonio Speaks, right? Remember he just got outed because of that video and live stream he did about foundational Black Americans and all this stuff. Y'all see it, right? Okay. I saw that channel, his channel, with 20 videos, and he had over 30,000 subscribers. You can't tell me that's not fake. You can't tell me that ain't somebody who is a government plant. Okay. I've got over 300 videos on this channel, bruh, and I can't even break 1,000 subs. You want to know why? Because the content of my catalog, nah, bro, I ain't finna get no great sponsorships. All right, I ain't finna have all these people behind me because I'm speaking real facts over here. I know what's gonna happen. I know how this goes. Okay. This is what it does. All right. So now the fourth phase, right? The fourth phase. Let's talk about it. We already talked about the third phase. Fourth phase now is what we're starting to see now is more and more of the pressure and gaslighting of Black Americans, bruh. They trying to get us out here to lose, man, because y'all already know what's going to happen when we get out here. Martial law. That's off top. I've been talking about martial law since 2009, bruh. Since 2009, bruh. I'm telling y'all what's going on. But I mean this. These type of channels, that's the fourth phase. The fourth phase now is suppressing the content and suppressing the people who are able to use these platforms to be able to reach the masses. Okay? Independent media is being suppressed because mainstream media is not living up to the standards anymore. So now you have so many people, conscious people like myself and other brothers who are foundational Black American, who have the understanding, who have taken the time to actually put together a specific catalog to reach my people, to let them know, hey, this is what's going on in our community. Hey, guys, let's make sure we're on code. But they don't want that. All right. They don't want that. Hey, salute, JNN. Thank you, ma'am. You say you're a woman. I appreciate you. definitely make sure you subscribe and let people know about my channel, because we're trying to grow over here. We're doing our best, but we can't do it without y'all, because that's how independent media grows. It's not going to grow through the algorithm. It's going to grow through the grassroots, through y'all sharing my channel, through y'all sharing my content, through y'all interacting with me in the chat. That helps my channel. That helps the engagement, okay? So I appreciate everybody who comes here, man. My brother Randall, he be in here every single stream, man. So salute to Randall. He's a real one. Thank you, brother. He says FBA is survival from US. Does not matter how folks feel about Tariq. Damn Tariq, and we ain't no political party either. That part. And that's my thing. Like we don't always have to agree. We don't, because that would be fake. It would be fake of us to act like we're all on one accord with things. But what we can say is, hey, I am a foundational Black American. My family has been over here for over 400 years. I have a history, a family tree that shows my lineage and my specific history to this country. That is what we can all agree on. Because why? It's history. It's scientifical. They cannot take that away from us. This is our facts. Okay? We can prove this. All right? So now that we can prove it, what happens? Everybody else starts to come in and starts to try to co-opt the movement, right? That's just real talk. Salute. They trying to take it back to the 30s and 40s time frame. Yes, sir, they are. But guess what? They can't do that if we don't let them. All right. They can't do that if we continue to raise awareness. They can't do that if we're using our platforms to speak out. Right. And so that's why we are a threat as the grassroots. OK, we are a threat as the grassroots because we can debunk and continue to debunk all of the BS that they try to bring to the table. They think we are stupid. Yes, they do. But we not. We are literally the smartest, most intelligent, creative, innovative, outgoing, selective people on this planet. We've done this. We created all this that they're able to enjoy. You feel me? All this stuff. They talk about what have Black Americans done. Go outside and look. Everything that you see, from your eyes to as far as you can look, foundational Black Americans built this straight up. So let's continue with the video. Y'all showing me so much love, man. Thank you all. Let's go.
Is in service of the wider community that we're trying to help. And this is something that we've all had to kind of learn, isn't it? It's a recurring story. We've had decades and decades of protest movements that have borne this thesis out. All that said, one of the phrases that we're seeing all over the place in response to the shooting of Renee Good is that could have been any one of us. And yeah, not wrong, especially harrowing, when it's the murder of a U.S. citizen, a law-abiding U.S. citizen, despite what the party wants you to believe about her conduct. But it also could have been us.
Now listen. Now this is parts where like I like to add a little extra sauce on it. But do you notice how when he says that could have been one of us, they're so quick to try to make it into something that doesn't really credit. Meaning, Black Americans have been the ones telling y'all it's gonna be y'all next if you don't listen, if we don't reform the police brutality, if we don't figure out the militarization of the police, it's gonna be a problem for all of y'all. That should specifically, he should have said specifically, Black Americans have been warning y'all. Specifically, that's what he should have said. But they have to tread softly, because like I said, when the truth, it hits them like bricks. It's a heavy weight to hold, right? Because for a long time we have been holding that weight. And I'm not gonna lie to you. And I don't know if it's just me, but I want y'all to let me know in the chat. Do y'all not feel a weight lifted off of y'all shoulders because of delineation? Do y'all not feel like less BS on our shoulders now? Like we don't gotta fight everybody fight no more? Because I feel that way now. I feel like I'm walking on air now. Like, I don't have to be on that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hey, salute to V. She said it right. I think we surprise a lot of people with delineation 100%. And mind you, I think they were so surprised by it because it was just so quiet. We didn't make a big noise about it. We didn't make a big stink about it. And I saw somebody say this. They just said, we just learned, we listened, and then we just walked out. We didn't make no big noise. We didn't try to create no craziness. We just walked out. We said, all right, cool. This is what y'all on, bet. Time for us to reload. Oh, okay. My bad, V. Salute to you, brother. Sorry. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel so much of a weight lifted. I don't have to worry about what y'all got going on no more. Black Americans need to focus on Black American business. That's what it feels like. It feels like we are just focused on us. And mind you, we're also shaming the devil. We're not allowing people to disrespect us. We're not allowing people to say whatever they want to say. We're going out of our way to make it clear, hey, man, if you disrespect Black Americans, you better be ready for the smoke, because we not letting nothing slide no more. All right? Y'all want to talk crazy. Y'all want to say this or that. You better be able to prove it, because if you're not, you're going to get cooked on this here internet. And that's real. So let's continue.
That's when it was Philando Castile.
The system continues to fail Black people, and they will continue to fail you all. Like I said, because this happened with Philando, when they get done with us, they coming from you, for you, and all your interracial children. Y'all are next. And you'll be standing up here fighting for justice just as well as I am. I am so disappointed in the state of Minnesota. My son loved this state.
It could have
2017. That was in 2017. Everybody want to do their 2016 remembrance. Okay. Well, let's talk about 2017. Let's talk about Philando Castile, right? Right? Nah, we don't want to talk. Nah, we don't want to talk about that, right? Nah, we don't want to talk about that, right? Nah, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I'm going to bring it right back up, because I want you guys to hear his mother. I'm not going to let y'all just go ahead and just talk crazy and make it seem like Black Americans need to run out here and help other people when this was happening to our people. 2017. That's not even 10 years ago, guys. All right? 2017. Listen.
Continue to fail you all. Like I said, because this happened with Philando, when they get done with us, they coming from you, for you, and all your interracial children. Y'all are next. And you'll be standing up here fighting for justice just as well as I am. I am so disappointed in the state of Minnesota. My son loved this state.
It could have been.
All right. So look, you know what's crazy is the fact that when the gun, right? The rabbit got the gun, right? When the tables turn, right? Now what they were saying, now what are they saying? What are immigrants saying? They're saying foundational Black Americans is next, right? Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny? In 2017, this is what we were saying, right? Ain't that funny? Now Black Americans, now we got to be careful, y'all. They're coming for us. We got to be careful. Like they haven't been coming for us for 400 years, y'all. Like they haven't been coming for us for 400 years, y'all. Hold up. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you guys something. We have been warning you guys, and y'all didn't want to listen. So guess what? Now y'all gonna have to get it out the mud. Hold your own nuts. Hold your own nuts. Hold your own nuts. Hold your own nuts. I'm sorry, guys, but you got to hold your own nuts now. Sorry. We tried to warn you guys, and y'all didn't want to listen. We tried to warn you guys, but you did not want to listen. We tried to warn you guys, but you did not want to listen. So now what? Now what? Now the tables turn, right? Now the tables turn, just like the divine has told us it does. For every action, there's a reaction. like the butterfly effect. When something happens in the future, it will make ripple effects that will affect who? Everybody. And yet, y'all still want to play these games. Y'all still want to gaslight Black Americans. Y'all still want to make it seem like we got to be on. Bro, Black Americans have always been in survival mode. We have always kept our head on a swivel. We have always had to have our guard up. There has never been a time where Black Americans could chill. So no, I do not feel any remorse. I'm sorry. Those days are gone. Salute to JNN. Yup, because when they come for us, we need to be ready. Because when they will try, we need to be prepared, and we will be, and we are. Don't ever get it twisted. Foundational Black Americans will be ready when it's time. And I can guarantee you that. You want to know why? Do you want to know why? Because we not the fake Black Panthers. We don't got to get on a camera and make threats. Those threats are already been made. Now it's on site. There is no point for us to be making threats when it's on site. We know what time it is. We know who our enemy is. Y'all just got y'all wake up call. We already knew who our enemy was. Y'all got your wake up call. We already knew who our enemy was. We didn't have to be surprised by this, guys. We already knew who they were. Minnesota is racist as hell. You dang right it is. The dang right it is. You dang right it is. All right. Salute to Randall. The old saying, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. And ain't that the truth? All right. Because now what are they trying to do? They're trying to weaponize foundational Black Americans into something that creates what? A hostility towards us. Because of what? Us delineating and saying, no, this ain't our fight. No, y'all got it. Y'all know so much better. Y'all know the economy. Y'all know this. Y'all know that. Y'all doing so much better than us. Black Americans, we lazy. We don't do nothing. I bet. Y'all get out here and get it. We gonna worry about what we got to worry about. What are you barbecuing this weekend? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? What are we doing for the summer? Like, what are the plans, bro? Because everything else is just talk. It's just noise. I don't care. Nobody's going to gaslight me to do anything. And nobody's going to gaslight foundational Black Americans into doing anything anymore. We don't have to prove shit to anybody. And I want you guys to understand that. We don't have to prove anything to anybody. We've already done that. We've already proven it. We've already walked the line. Do not allow anyone to try to make it seem like you are not doing enough. You are enough. You have done enough. Your foundation is right here. You are not an immigrant. You are not from somewhere else. You cannot be sent anywhere else. This is your home. And we will protect it against enemies, foreign and domestic. All right? Foreign and domestic. All right? Because this is our home. This is where we come from, straight up. MLK said it too. I did a live stream about my brother MLK. Salute to the freaking icon, the one. All right? Malcolm said there were Black people here before anyone else, and it was us. It was us. It was us, okay? Look at the nose. Look at the nose. It was us. We've been here. We ain't going nowhere. We started this thing. We created this thing. And we not going to let it go easily. I'm sorry, you guys. Y'all tried it. But guess what? Everything, all things have to come to a head, okay? How long have you guys been able to mooch off of the foundation that Black Americans built? How long have you guys looked down on us for the things that we've done? All right. Salute, Rihanna. Thank you. Salute, JNN. All right, let's go. Because I don't know what's up, man, but we're going to make sure that we handle this. That part. They have the nerve to call us racists and haters. Can you imagine? We are the most loving on this planet. And mind you, that is what they used against us. All right. This is the mind of somebody who is not really human. Okay. They do not think like we do. They do not have the heart like we do. They don't even have the same genetic makeup. Neanderthal DNA makes them something not human. Neanderthal DNA. Never forget that. Neanderthal DNA makes them something that is not human. All right? Let's make sure that we don't forget that. IV, we are the most positive impact in this world, 100%. The things that we've created, the love that we've put out into this world to try to change this world, to try to innovate this world, to try to push this world forward into the modern era, the industrial era, agricultural era. We were all intricate in those times. Every single phase that you can look at in the history of this country that they consider North America, foundational Black Americans have been integral in every single stage, every single phase, every single part, to the very small, minute details. All right? Don't let them take that away from y'all. Don't ever let anybody take our history from us. It is worth fighting for. I repeat, it is worth fighting for. All right? It is worth it. 100%, it is worth it. You better believe it is worth it to me to fight for this. All right? There were Black tribes in Ohio who wrote in form of Hebrew. They were called Moors, my brother. They were called Moors. And once you guys start to get a little bit deeper in understanding of me, you will look at my name and say, wait, why does he call himself Brandon Bay? I wonder why. The consciousness, knowledge of self is important for our people. It is important for all of us, okay? Make sure you stay on code, y'all. We are God's children and they know it. We are the chosen people for real. We are the children of Judah. We are those lost tribes right here. We are the lost tribes. Okay? We are those children. So don't ever let that be taken away from you guys. Okay? A world that literally hates us and we still choose to lead with compassion and love and understanding and grace and mercy. That's what we live with in our hearts and in our foundation. That is 100% inside of us. Black Americans, this is who we are. This is who we are. Okay? This is who we are. All right? A Black man was the first person to die in the Crispix addicts. Crispix addicts, okay? The first one. And you know what? Isn't that so patriotic? Isn't that so patriotic? Isn't that just such a metaphor for the foundational Black American? We are the ones, we are the shield for everyone else. We're the ones who take that bullet every single time. All right? Straight up, man. Let's continue because I ain't even get in this video that good, y'all. I could chill and talk to y'all in the chat, man. Let's continue though.
In us, when it was the wide variety of victims of state-sanctioned violence, Black men and women, Black trans folks, Black queer folks, who have consistently been martyred, only for no large social media movement, no large political organizing rally to be conducted in response, at least one that, let's say, breaks color lines.
Last week, a man named Keith Porter was killed by an off-duty ICE agent, but you probably haven't heard his name. And while part of that may be because of the ICE agent being off-duty rather than on-duty with a large crowd, we also know the biggest reason why this exists. Keith Porter is a Black man, and Black men, Black women that get killed by agents, officers, don't get the same amount of national attention. Many people online have been very angry at me and other Black people for saying not to use the phrase "say her name" when it comes to Renee Good. And this is part of the reason. It has taken 7 days for the average person, and not even the average person, but for people online to find out about Keith Porter, while most people across the country know who Renee Good is within 24 hours.
This is what we talk about all the time, is the fact that the media will always prop up. They will always make sure they prioritize. They will always make sure to put one story up front and make sure that this person's stature is held up in a right regard. Make sure they're handled with white gloves, metaphorically speaking, of course, right? But in reality, what happens when it is a Black person who is the victim? We get mugshots, we get old stories, we get old social media posts of them at not their best times. We get negativity. We get totally talked down upon. Look what they did to Trayvon Martin. And I will always bring this up because Trayvon Martin, when that happened to that boy, it really hurt my heart because it made me think of me. It made me think of my young nephews at the time. It made me think about my friends and their sons. And so when they tried to assassinate his character, a child who was literally in his own neighborhood, who was literally harassed by an adult with a weapon and was murdered in the middle of the street, he was left to walk away from that and never had to be held accountable for what he did to that young man. This is what we've had to constantly deal with in the foundational Black American community. And the freaking balls of all these people to try to gaslight us and make us seem like we're the ones who are playing the victim. I don't understand it. They getting paid for whoop ass now. Yikes. Hey, ice, baby. You know how that go. We can't do nothing about it. I'm sorry.
Within 24 hours, people have started marching for her. They have been sharing the stories of her families. They have been talking about her, sharing posts of her, memorializing her, making sure that she is known. Meanwhile, Keith Porter's family, they've been struggling to get into the news cycle. They've been struggling to have any conversation. And the same defense that ICE agents are using to justify killing Good is the same defense that they're using for justifying killing Porter.
There is a playbook. There is a playbook, and Black Americans have been trying our best to always make sure that people would know and understand the playbook. I fear for my life. There was a threat on my life. I didn't know what to do. I had to shoot. So, sir, wait, you had to shoot 30 times? Yes. Do y'all remember Botham Jean? Do y'all remember that story? Botham Jean, who was in his own home, sleep on his own couch. A woman who was a police officer breaks into the house, kills the man. Right? And they had the nerve to say that we needed to forgive her. She made a mistake. She feared for her life, right? She feared for her life. She thought it was her apartment and then accidentally kills a man. Yeah, somebody's always dead when there's a Black guy and a cop. Ain't that crazy?
Say that he had a weapon and that he pointed it at them first, despite the fact that nobody on the scene concurred that, aside from the officer who shot him. These are the conversations that we need to be having. It's not divisive to ask you to use language that matters. It's not offensive to ask you to consider how you're speaking about an issue, because part of the reason why fascism is happening now in the United States is because certain groups of people have never had to care this much.
How did we let it get so bad? Do you know who could have warned you? Kwame Jones, William Howard Green, Jackeen O'Neal Light, Leonard Parker Jr., Carl Grant, Reginald Payne, Manuel Ellis, Barry Geddes, Donnie Sanders, Breonna Taylor.
Look at those names. All right. Look at them. Don't forget this picture right here. Look at that. The whole screen, and he's still reading. Okay. It still scrolls after this, but I'm just stopping it here just so that we can look at the volume. These are documented. All right. Let's not talk about the undocumented. Let's not talk about how many foundational Black Americans have been killed by the police in the street over generations of time. Plenty of unsolved cases, plenty of unsolved mysteries, plenty of missing people. Where did all of them go? I am a crime buff. I like to watch true crime. I like to partake in understanding how true crime works and forensics and all this stuff, right? It's very funny, right? That there is no real actual task force that should be created, right? For those unsolved cases and mysteries. Okay? I was doing some research, guys. And you know the research that I came across, let me make sure it's on my phone still, because it was so ridiculous that I had to like make sure that I kept it in my Rolodex, because I'm just that type of person. And I like to make sure that I keep receipts, right? And a big part of keeping those receipts is what? It is understanding like, hey guys, there is a level of understanding that a lot of people have to have, the understanding that, hey, we are not just looking at one thing. We're looking at more things than just one, right? And so I was looking at what was the false imprisonment rate, right? Like how many people have gone to jail who are Black and were falsely accused of something, right? Can you guys believe this? Okay, Black individuals constitute around 53% of all exonerated people, but they are only 13% of the population. Isn't that a crazy stat? Over half of the people who are in jail right now were exonerated because they were falsely imprisoned. This is 13% of the population, y'all. 13%. We're only 13% of the population, and we make up over 53% of the exonerations? I don't know, y'all. It's you see where I'm going though? You see where I'm going, right? You get where I'm coming from, right? Randall, me too, brother. Hey, so look, I'm from Long Beach, right? I grew up in Long Beach. I played football growing up, you know what I'm saying? Was very highly recruited, all that. All right. There was a case here in Long Beach by the brother Brian Banks. He had a movie about himself where he was falsely accused of the R word with the girl that he had intercourse with during school hours, got caught. The girl got scared and said that he R-worded her, and he did not. He was released from prison, I think after about 20 years. When he gets out, the girl reaches out to him, says, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you've been well, and admits on camera that she lied. All right. So, hey, salute to you, man. I know I seen your football picture, bro, but yeah. And look, this is just what happens, bro. I just put the stat up there for y'all. Okay. 53% of the exonerations in America are for Black Americans, but we only make up 13% of the population. Y'all help me do the math on that. All right?
These are lived realities for Black folks in the United States.
Crazy.
And we often take that almost like it's supposed to happen. It informs us a little bit. It motivates us, especially when we feel particularly aggrieved with the United States, particularly mad at our elected officials, particularly mad at our rich capitalist classes. And then we put it aside and we continue on with our lives because our lives, in our minds, are something separate from the lives of Black folks, from the lives of poor and working class Black folks, from the lives of Black martyrs. Our political reality is something separate from the Black Panthers. It's something separate from Black organizing work. It's something separate from anti-imperial organizing work. That's just stuff that we get into when we're in the mood. But as far as our lived reality, our everyday experiences, our relationship with our police forces, our relationships to money, our relationships to culture, as non-Black people, all of us view Black histories, Black cultural work, Black activism as separate, as something that's not connected to our own experience, as something novel that...
I'm glad that he's admitting this, right? I'm glad that he's admitting this because this is true. This is what we've always all known. And this is why the delineation movement has been so powerful, is because we forced everybody to keep it real. We forced everybody to stop lying to us. We forced everybody to have to actually deal with their problems. We got tired of being the shield and the scapegoat for everybody else. And we forced you guys to have to deal with it. The days of blaming Black Americans for everything are over. Now the delineation has happened. You better be able to stand on what you from and where you from, because we gonna make sure that we make it clear that that ain't us. If that's somebody who did that, where he from? What's his lineage? Oh, he Haitian. Oh, he did that. What his lineage? Oh, he Nigerian. Oh, what they doing? Oh yeah, they Somalian. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Nah, we forcing y'all to have to deal with it because we had to deal with it for so long, and we held that. Like I said, we held it on our shoulders. We held it. We walked around with that cross. All right. And mind you, a lot of people like to talk about, Jesus. Look at that. Look, that's what I said. When I start speaking the truth, they start playing on my stream. But look, talk about how Jesus Christ, and they talked about how there was a curse on the tribes, right? There was a curse that was put onto us, and we had to hold that. For this moment that we're in, that cross has been let off of our shoulders. Now y'all got to deal with your own stuff. Y'all have to do that because we have fought, we have bled, we have cried so many nights. Now it's your turn. Y'all have to feel the pain because y'all couldn't allow it. You couldn't, like he said, they couldn't relate. It was something separate to them. Our movement, our plight, our uprising, us speaking out was something separate to them. They didn't see it as something that would help all of us. Meanwhile, Black Americans are walking around with this weight on our shoulders, trying to save the world. Trying to save the world. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, everybody else can just go about their business with no weight on their shoulders, no weight of the world on them. Those days are over. Those days are done. It's over. There will never be another time where people can come in here and try to say that Black Americans have to do something. No, we don't. No, the hell we don't. You better make it make sense, because otherwise we ain't doing crap. We ain't gonna do nothing that y'all gonna try to make us do that don't make sense to us. Because like he said, our fight, our plight was something separate. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I stopped at that part, because that part is so important. They thought it was separate when we thought it was for everybody, y'all. We thought it was for everybody. We out here fighting for everybody, and they could care less. All right. White dude speaking facts. I think he's Asian. I think he Asian. I mean, he might be half though, but he definitely look like he Asian though. You know what I'm saying? So salute to the Asian brothers. You know what I mean? And he is doing his part by informing a white audience. Good for him. Yes, indeed. 100%. Because this is what it's going to take. It's not just going to take content creators like us who are out here doing our part in our community, but it take them creators too. They got to use their platforms and start speaking on this. Straight up.
We can reach into like a bag of candy, pull out a little Twizzler every now and then, and use it to sugarcoat what we do. This is the kind of thing that you see borne out over and over again. And, you know, there's been multiple TikToks that I will showcase in this video that really speak to this point. This is borne out when you see the wording, the verbiage, the responses, the thought processes that so many people have. And it's not just Americans. We are going to get into it. Have in the response to political outrage. Here's one example. And one particular TikTok I'll show you gets into it. It's always Nazi Germany. You know,
even if we fix this right now, America gonna be right back in this situation in like 2 generations, because white people is not learning a lesson that they need to learn. Because here's the thing, you may not have started the original curse, but you, your mother, your grandmother, your great grandmother, y'all have been feeding the curse generation after generation after generation. And this is the thing that's blowing my mind.
Hey, and salute, because Randall, you was just right on time. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video, but you was right on time, bro. It will never... They will never care until it affected them. They didn't care. And that's what she's saying. The curse will never be lifted from them until they actually address the atrocities that they have committed right here in this country. Right here in this country, okay? They will never be able to progress. This country will never get better until these things are addressed. We delineate with love and we still hate no one. They will understand one day. Yes, indeed. We are doing this out of love. This has nothing to do with hate for anyone else. And I want to make this clear. Anybody who is watching this stream and watches the video later, there is no hate from foundational Black Americans when it comes to delineation. There is no hate. This is only self-preservation and understanding of ourselves to make sure that we do not continue the cycle that has held us down for generations. We are breaking the cycle. And that's what that feels like. When you're breaking a generational curse, it isn't going to be comfortable. It might hurt a little bit. It might be a little harsh. It might be a little tough to deal with. But in reality, this is what is necessary for growth. You cannot grow without uncomfortability. Uncomfortability does not come without growth. You have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Okay? And you know who's the most comfortable when it's uncomfortable? Black Americans. Black Americans, we are the most comfortable in the uncomfortable because we have no standard of what it would feel like to be in a world where everything was catered to us, where we were cared for collectively. No, we don't know. We don't know what that feels like. All we know about is our community. That's it. That's all. Yeah. Salute to V. She said, yeah, I was telling my white friends they have to speak up when people talk around them. That's facts. You can't just let it keep going. You got to say something. You got to say something because otherwise what happens? It continues to happen. The cycle continues. It never stops. Salute to Randall. He says their arrogance won't allow them. Arrogance will be their downfall. They would rather us burn than to fix it. And I truly believe that. They would rather this entire country burn to hell. V, I'm sorry, bro. My bad, bro. I'm sorry, dog. But they would rather let this place burn, man. They really would. They really, really would. They would rather let this place burn before they would admit to what they've done and the fact that they have to fix it. They have to fix it. Salute.
Y'all keep saying Germany. Y'all keep pulling up pictures of German soldiers. Pull up them pictures of your grandparents outside them schools. Pull up the pictures of your great-grandparents at them picnics. Stop talking about Germany when they learned they playbook from a real specific group of motherfuckers who 2 generations they kids is looking at me on this goddamn app right now.
I try to tell people this all the time. You know, I don't know if you guys, you know, we were talking about football a little bit earlier, but okay, we could talk about Jerry Jones, right? Jerry Jones, the controversy. Remember when that picture came out and they found out that it was Jerry Jones who was in the crowd, right? When they was segregating in the school and he was one of them who was in the crowd. Yeah, that's what we talking about. Yeah, that's what we talking about. And that's why I had to make it clear that when I brought up that first video to let people understand there is not that much far removed from Black Americans who were dealing with the real racism, okay, and where we are today. There was not much time between that. My grandfather, all right, who we spoke on earlier, he talked about his grandfather who was in the Korean War. My grandfather was in the Korean War, okay? And so the facts will remain the facts. This was not that long ago, guys. This was not that long ago, okay? Literally not that long ago. And listen, we just heard, you know what I'm saying? We just saw the whole backlash, right? And the understanding that, hey, man, you know what? We're talking about Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was this, Rosa Parks was that. But then we also have to mention Claudette Colvin, right? Claudette Colvin just passed away last week, okay? And she was one of the integral pieces in the civil rights movement, part of the Montgomery bus boycott. She was one of the integral pieces, a part of that, including her, Rosa Parks, and who else? Martin Luther King. She just passed away. So don't try to discredit our plight. Don't try to make it seem like Nazi Germany was the only people who was so far. No. Literally, our grandparents were here dealing with these heathens and these people who could not control themselves. Racist savages.
Y'all are related to, in the same house as, and breaking bread with the motherfuckers that created this world that we live in today.
That part.
And we warned you, and we warned you, and we warned you, and you warned you.
White people are always ready to compare the Trump administration to Nazi Germany, ICE as Gestapo, Trump as Hitler, etc. It's never white supremacist movements of the 50s and 60s. It's never the Ku Klux Klan. It's never what happened to the Black Panthers. It's never COINTELPRO. It's never Operation Condor. It's never the violence of neoliberalism. It's never the crack epidemic. It's never our various ventures into the Middle East. Those people.
Now look, you notice, right? You notice how all those things that he just mentioned, right, are still happening till today. Notice how the KKK is still a freaking government entity that has not been put on any list. All right? They have never been put on any list. The Black Panthers were literally a part of an organization that was literally made by J. Edgar Hoover to be targeted. But they didn't do that for the KKK. Hold on, wait, hold up. You're telling me that the KKK is still here, they are still operating, but the Black Panthers were literally disbanded, infiltrated, and murdered? Come on, man. Y'all gotta make it make sense, bro. Y'all gotta make it make sense, because if these are the entities that you guys are saying that are enemies, foreign and domestic, right? That's what they love to talk about. Why are these domestic terrorists not being held accountable for the atrocities that they have committed towards foundational Black Americans for over 500 years? The KKK was literally created specifically to target foundational Black Americans. All right? Sure, yes, the Jews were a part of that as well. But you know what? Hitler was inspired. Hitler was inspired. I repeat, Hitler was inspired by segregation right here in America. That's what inspired him to go and create Nazi Germany, was what was happening right here in America. All right. So I don't want to hear about, like he said, I don't want to hear about Nazi Germany. I don't want to hear about all this other crap when you aren't speaking on what the actual root was. Nazi Germany was inspired by segregation in America. Yes, y'all, I know, surprising. You can't believe that, right? That's what you're not going to learn in school. They're not going to teach you that in school, guys. This is information that you have to find on your own. This is the information that I was learned on. The time that I had to take for knowledge of self. Hold on, let me grab something for y'all real quick. People in Bondage. A book, a real book. All right. These things are in books. They are there readily available for us. This information needs to be put out there. And mind you, this is why my channel will take forever to even be able to get to the level that it needs to, because I am well learned. I understand the system. I have read many of books, many of teachings. All right. Coming from a conscious community background. All right. We've been out here for a long time. So y'all got to make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to a real channel spreading real truth, because it's not going to be able to get out unless y'all help me grow this. All right. That's the only way we're going to be able to grow. So y'all make sure you stay locked in with your boy, man.
People, the things that they suffered from, the CIA assassination or the FBI assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., those are kind of curiosities. Those are interesting footnotes in a complicated and sometimes quite dark history of the world we live in today. Those are always peripheral. That's why it's the periphery. That's why Black Americans are a colonized people. This is something that I think a lot of people are not quite coming to grips with, and we will see that discourse play out over the next couple of years. We will see the use of the term internal colonies become popular, but not right now, because white people have this tendency every time they get back into their outrage bag, every time they get back into their political commentary bag, every time new progressive movements form, thankfully, new social justice movements form, thankfully, and white people find themselves with platforms at the forefront of it, they're always in their minds inventing fire. They're always in their minds stumbling upon brand new ideas that they just have to share with everybody. So now that they've just figured out that imperialism is a thing, now that they've just figured out the core periphery distinction a little bit, they've figured out that what we have in this country is built off of what we do to other countries, what we do to a global proletariat, a global exploited class.
All right, so here's the part where sometimes I gotta make sure I pop in and debunk what he says. What he's saying really is he needs to say it's built off the backs of Black Americans. That's what he needs to say. He can't say that because he still has to make sure that he can leave a bit of room so that he can connect with them people. But in reality, what he really needs to say is that they are living off of a foundation that Black Americans built and have not been paid back for. That's how you actually make sure you're holding these things accountable. They have benefited from a foundation that Black Americans built and have not been paid back for. That is how you have to phrase that. Okay? We built a foundation for everyone else to be able to catapult themselves off of, with no mindfulness to understand, hey, we should probably make sure that we protect this, but we cannot when we are underneath a system that was built for us to fail. Every single outlook, Rosewood, all the way up to Black Wall Street, it has been proven that anytime Black Americans have taken time and effort to build out what we are deserving of, what happens? Lynch mobs, haters, the devil. All right, straight up. That's the only way you can describe it.
Now they want to tell everybody about it. They can't wait to tell you. Did you know what we do in the Congo? Yes. Did you know in Palestine? Yes. Right. And this is not me speaking from an arrogant standpoint, or I'm attempting not to be arrogant about it, because there's a lot that I'm still learning. And sometimes I'm guilty of this too. But,
see, and that's the thing. It's so easy to go outward, right? It's so easy to look at other countries and say what they doing over there. But don't nobody want to talk about what they doing right here and what they've been doing right here for over 500 years. Don't nobody want to touch that, right? Nobody wants to touch that. They can sympathize with Palestinians, people who they don't even know, except they can't even sympathize with their coworker. They can't even sympathize with Leonard, who works in their warehouse. They can't even sympathize with Kiana, who works in the front office. They can't even sympathize with Raheem, who kicks up their car every time. They can't wrap their mind around that. But they can wrap their mind around people all across another country. But they can't even understand or comprehend what foundational Black Americans have gone through and been through. They can't even comprehend that. They can't. A Nazi group tried to run up in a Black neighborhood in Cincinnati and got ran up out of there. Facts. I remember that. And they were strapped too. And that's why I'm trying to tell people, man. This whole fake Black Panther stuff, trust me, the real ones was them right there in Cincinnati. Them was the real ones. They didn't talk. They just showed up. They didn't talk. They just showed up. And that's what I'm talking about. A lot of us ain't just on no talking. We ain't talking. Ain't no talking. Ain't no words. You show up with a swastika flag, it's up. I know what time it is. We ain't got to talk. We could get busy, bro. We can get busy. I ain't gonna be with the back and forth, bro. I'm not a back and forth guy. If you want smoke, tell me a time and place and we can do it. Ain't gonna be no talking, making threats, trying to, publicize and propaganda. Nah, we pulling up. We pulling up. Something happened? Yeah, we pulling up. We trying to see what's good. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Not colonized. The Africans were colonized. That part. Straight up.
What happens in the process is then inevitably Black folks will chime in and white people will speak over them all over again, as if these Black folks are not speaking from the histories and experiences and the knowledges that have been built off of studying this very dynamic for centuries, which you are just now getting more active in your resistance towards. Case in point, there are these constant arguments about Black Americans this. Every time something happens to a non-Black person that bothers them, the first thing they think about is how much they hate Black people. It's really telling because, I see a post on Tumblr about Pride Month, and it's this, young person clearly from like New Zealand, who's angry about American exceptionalism and American imperialism and how it's distorted queer histories in New Zealand and Maori histories. And who's the subject of their ire? It's not white gay folks. It's not the bourgeois queer classes in the United States that are predominantly white. It's not white supremacy. They're mad at Black trans women. Oh, Marsha P. Johnson has nothing to do with queer histories in New Zealand, right?
This is what I said. It's deflections. Like, remember Charlie Kirk, right? Charlie Kirk got assassinated at a predominantly white institution. And who got the brunt of those things? Now they're threatening to shoot up HBCUs. Y'all remember that? This is what we always deal with. Okay? It's never been, oh, Black Americans, something can happen to white people and we just good. No, if white people get upset, they always take it out on us. We know this. Okay? This has been in history. Okay? So that is how they do. Like I said, and like we always say, we know these people. We know them. Okay? We know them and we know how they operate. Salute JNN. We know white folks. We know them. Okay? We understand them. We know what's going on. We know how they move. Okay? So when people try to play them games with us, no. You ain't finna play no games with us. We know what you're up to, dude. We know what you're doing. And you're not gonna scare us, bro. Sorry. It's just not gonna happen, dog. Like we've already made it clear the stance that we take on this, and we understand what it is.
Right. What the hell do Black trans women have to do with this? Why is the subject of your ire Black folks, right? But they do this every time. They figure out something about how the world works, and they cannot wait to say, Black people have not told me about this.
Hey, salute to the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? My dad is from Chicago, specifically Aurora, Illinois. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of family up in Chicago. Got a lot of family up in Milwaukee. I got a lot of family up in Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So the Midwest has a big piece of my heart, and specifically has a lot of my lineage as well up there. You know what I'm saying? My dad's side, you feel me? They from South Carolina, or from South Carolina to Illinois. You know what I mean? And they've been in the Midwest ever since. You feel me? And Midwest, like you said, Midwest stand on business. Nobody play around in the Midwest. Midwest slap the shit out your ass. And that's just facts. Like, what? Go up there to Chicago and find out. For real.
People actually don't realize this. Black people think they're the only oppressed people. Black people have a perpetual victimhood mentality. Even some of the most self-proclaimed far left people will fall into the same rhetoric time and time again. And it's tiring. It's tiring because they, within a couple of years, as I mentioned, we're going to be like, oh, did you know that the United States has internal colonies? You don't say. You don't say that some of the places that we would consider colonies are technically within the borders of the United States, technically part of U.S. states. It's a conversation that somehow was skirted about Hawaii. It's a conversation we're going to be having about Puerto Rico as Bad Bunny performs for the Super Bowl soon. But folks still do not acknowledge that there are Black Americans in predominantly Black as well as brown neighborhoods, inner cities throughout the United States that still don't have clean drinking water, that don't have clean air to breathe, that have completely broken down housing situations, that live materially in conditions that are quite similar to many within the global South.
And look, this is what we know. We always talk about the infrastructure in America and how impoverished a lot of these communities are, specifically our Black American communities. And they always like to talk down on us, right? We don't take care of your communities. You guys don't take care of where you live. It is structurally built that way, guys. The funding, the money, all of the resources that are supposed to come have been cut. All right. And I've been cut over time. And as well, the politicians who are in office are not Black Americans. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the fact that we also have tethers who are in the constituents, who are in these seats, who are part of Congress, who are the ones who are supposed to be helping the community, but they would much rather appease towards whom? Those who come from other places as opposed to the actual base. the people who are the foundation of this country. And we are tired, Jay. We are tired. We're 100% tired. We done had enough. We don't have no more to give. That's how tired we are. We running on empty.
And that likewise, there are many people living quite nicely in the global south, which is not to say that the extraction dynamic and the imperialism dynamics don't extend outside of the United States and don't often take place, or most of the time take place outside of US borders.
Listen, I'm gonna speak on this real quick. Thank you, V, for this comment. This is facts. And what happens is, I see this a lot, you know what I'm saying, where there's a lot of businesses from immigrants, right? And, you know, I'm not knocking that, whatever, you know what I'm saying? They get a lot of funding for it. They get loans, all this other stuff. But I've been looking and I'm like, how is it profitable business, right? How are these businesses profitable? What shows these people who've gotten these investments? I would love to see the ROI on that. I would love to see how much they get back on that. I would love to see what these businesses actually look like and what they're actually doing. Because you know what? The whole Somali situation and how all those businesses turned out to be fronts, and all those businesses turned out to be ways for them to funnel money into other places. You can't tell me that Somalians are the only ones doing that. You can't tell me that it's just Somalians doing that. There has to be more oversight of these businesses, because we know a lot of them are not real businesses. I can drive by a lot of these businesses in my community right now and say, how is this person making money? And they're running a Zumba studio? You're running a Zumba studio and you're able to keep the lights on in 2026. A Zumba studio? Y'all help me understand, man. Y'all help me understand. I need to understand who's running a Zumba studio that's profitable. A Zumba studio. Okay? Somebody help me understand how you're able to open up a thrift store and no one ever is in there. How is this a profitable business? Yet Black Americans who I know have successful businesses can't get even a shop. They can't get a shop, and they have over 1,000 followers on Instagram and Etsy and all these other places, and they can't get a brick and mortar? What? Like, wow. Like, what are we talking about, man? One near me has an Indian store and they own the house next door with luxury. Yeah, facts. And you're like, who's buying this? Because every time I walk past your store, it's always empty. Just like what they said with the Somalis, they put up stuff on the window so you can't look inside the business and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's because they run in a front. It's not a real business. And when are we going to start waking up? But nah, we sound racist because we calling out the truth. We calling out the BS. We the ones who now are supposedly, right? We're supposedly xenophobic because we're calling out the obvious, bro. Get out of here, man. This is crazy, bro. Like crazy.
But borders don't got nothing to do with it. Capitalism is a process of extraction. It is a process of sorting out who are the extractable classes, who are the exploited classes. And part of how you do that is through race. It's through racialization, because racialization justifies caste, and caste justifies extraction. It justifies exploitation. You can learn this in India, right? You can learn this in the case of Indian history. Why is there a class of untouchables? Because somebody has to pick up the poop, because somebody has to be the janitor. And we have to have a system through which we can continuously justify who has the worst jobs and who gets paid the least to do the stuff that nobody else wants to do.
And this is the facts, is that what he just spoke on, the people who have to do the jobs that are necessary, that was us. Foundational Black Americans were the first, right? We were the ones who had to do all the work that nobody else wanted to do because we were forced into it. We didn't have a choice. It was that or death. Okay? It was that or death. Okay, so naturally, when it became us having our liberation, us growing in our consciousness, us being able to realize our own talents, yeah, we didn't want to do that crap no more. You're right. We ain't no slaves, bruh. We fought to be out of that position, but they want to keep us there. And that's the point. That is the point. They still want to keep us there, and we not finna allow that no more. And we've been saying no for a very long time. Straight up, man. It's ridiculous, bro.
All of this is to say that Black folks have been telling us this for a long time. Black folks have been telling us about state-sanctioned violence for a long time. Black folks have been talking about police abolition for a very long time. And it has become this red flag discourse, this something that triggers white folks, right? Abolish the police, abolish the police. But now that you have something attached to the Trump administration and branding, empowered by the Trump administration, and something that actively and aesthetically and remorselessly targets US citizens who are sometimes white, all of a sudden it's abolish ICE. All of a sudden abolition is a popular concept because when it affects white people, they go from going like this to going like this. Does that make sense? And
I love that metaphor because it's so true. Like they already were very, very cool and oblivious with how things were because it benefited them and they were totally not affected by it. But now that it has been able to say, no, these ICE agents don't care, they'll let off on whoever. Now it's abolished ICE, right? It's abolished the Gestapo of Trump, when in reality, it's always been the same power structure. It just didn't affect them. Now it's affecting them, and now everyone's expecting Black Americans to run out here and fight for them. No, you crazy? What do you think? Who do you think we are? What do you think we're supposed to do? You really thought that we were gonna just come out here and take the bullet for y'all? No. Now the tables have turned. Now it's your turn. Now you have to actually show us what you're made of. What are you guys going to do about it, right? What's going to be the next move, right? What's y'all next move? Because y'all so obsessed with us and what we doing. What are y'all going to do?
this is not something that is exclusive to just white people. This is a reality among non-Black people globally, especially white people globally. There are many of us who are diligent in trying to learn from Black Americans as well as other marginalized groups throughout the world. But there are many, many more of us, it seems, who are almost resolute in maintaining a dominant position socially over Black people. One of the things you hear also about Americans is, oh, when are Americans going to revolt? I love this one. I want to sip some water before I talk about this one. Why don't Americans do what they're doing in Paris, what they've done in Paris? Why aren't they doing what's happening in Nepal? Oh, it's because Americans are so silly. They're so stupid. They're so uneducated. They're so selfish. Meanwhile, police precincts were getting burned in 2020. Resistance actions have been happening throughout the United States every single year. And it's Black and it's brown folks that are often leading the charge. Right.
So, like I said, he has to include a certain demographic in order to make sure he stays on a certain side. But we know it was foundational Black Americans who was out here raising hell. All right. I was here. My family was here during the riots in Rodney King's case. My family was living in Compton during that time. All right. I had uncles out there putting in that work. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. All right. We've been out here for a minute. You want to talk about the Watts riots? Y'all don't want to talk about that because I got too many family ties. I could get my people in trouble. All right. But just know we've been out here for a minute. All right. We got American fatigue. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? We got fatigue from America. We tired of their ass.
In this moment, you can look up Cooperation Jackson in Jackson, Mississippi, which is led by Black folks, primarily economic solidarity programs, a solidarity network, a political network aimed at improving the material conditions for Black and brown folks in Jackson, Mississippi. You can look this up right now and figure this out, right? You can learn about Chris Smalls right now, Amazon labor organizer, went to Palestine, was tortured by the IDF. You can learn about this, right? It's right there for you. But rather than look at that and say, some Americans are resisting and some aren't, and why is that? We would rather pretend that America is this united bloc where everybody benefits the same, or at least benefits close enough, and the marginalized groups in the United States are just these selfish, perpetually victimized bourgeois classes that don't care about the rest of the world. And who said that? Because at the same time, y'all are the type of people to cite Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and James Baldwin as your heroes, people who were stringent in talking about solidarity with the third world, anti-Vietnam War, pro-communist, pro-Palestine. Black folks have been on those waves literally for decades. And in the 2020s, in 2023, frankly, white folks found out about Palestine, read a couple of articles, and were like, these damn Black people have been lying to me because Palestinians are the real victims.
Listen, man, I tried to tell y'all, man, this is what be happening for real. Like, this really will be happening. Like, this is really what we see on a regular basis. Every turn, any opportunity that they could find to discredit Black Americans and our plight and be able to shift it into somebody else's, they will do it. Don't ever get this twisted. They will find any opportunity that they can to discredit our plight and find another thing that they can attach to try to make it seem like they're so self-righteous. When, like I said, all that genocide that y'all talking about going on in Palestine, come back home, y'all. We got something to deal with right here in your own yard. I heard her saying, and it always resonated with me, don't go out here trying to save the world when you haven't even cleaned up your room. Don't go out trying to save the world if you have not yet cleaned your room. Think about what that means, guys. If I have not handled my business at home, why would I go out and try to handle somebody else's business? Nah, y'all got something to handle right here. Y'all got something to handle right here. Right here. Right here. These whites need to get ready to get on the front lines and shed some of that blood for that America. That's right. That's right. Y'all gonna have to get it back in blood, man. Y'all said y'all want America back to what it used to be. It seemed like y'all might have to fight for it. That's what it seemed like to me. Seemed like y'all gonna have to fight for it. That's what it seemed like to me. Don't ask us for nada. We did 200 plus years of free labor. And let's keep it an extra buck. Slavery didn't stop. All right. Let me repeat. Slavery didn't stop. It just changed. They morphed it into the prison industrial complex. So now, instead of somebody being on a plantation, they are now in a penitentiary. And we already know that a lot of those penitentiaries are responsible for what? Building infrastructure, agriculture, textiles. I mean, I can keep going. They make food for you guys at Walmart. I don't know if y'all know that, but a lot of the stuff that you guys buy at Walmart is made from inmates and indentured servants. Yeah, that never changed, guys. It just shifted. The plantation turned into the penitentiary, and they still found a way to imprison Black Americans. Let's keep it a buck here. It never stopped. It just shifted. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to let you guys know. I'm here to make sure that you guys understand that. And I'm not going to let you guys not have this information to take with you, so that if you guys get into conversations with people and you guys are having these conversations, you can come into them with an educated argument that is based in facts. Okay? We already talked about this. The fact of the prison industrial complex was a direct creation because they could not people into slavery anymore. It's illegal. So we can actually do it if we arrest them, though. And boom, you got what you got.
How did you get there? How did you skip so much and get there? It's infuriating and it's frustrating, because it's not just a dynamic that plays out in the United States. That kind of rhetoric is just another version of American exceptionalism. The idea that America is just so unique and its idiocy, so unique in its backwardsness, culturally, so unique in its selfishness. You know, you hear European folks lecture Americans about whether it's the protesting thing, as they ignore what Black Americans have constantly been doing, or whether it's about capitalism, as if Europe is not dominated by a capitalist class anchored by the EU, which primarily benefits from the profits of extraction from the third world, just like the US, in coordination with the US. European folks will lecture Americans about racism in American society. They're like, I can't get my head around how a country could be so racist. Like, literally everything in America is because of racism. As a European, I can't believe this. Are you serious? Really? You might want to think a little bit harder. These ideas.
This is why I always try to tell people, like, it's hard for me to have conversations with some people, because there's literally a cognitive dissonance that people subject themselves to. They don't want to know. Okay, a lot of people don't want to know. They don't want to be informed. They don't want to be conscious. They don't want to wake up, right? Woke, right? You don't want to be woke, right? But in reality, that's what this is. You can't go back, right? Blue pill, red pill, right? You choose. You choose which pill to take. But understand, there's no coming back on which side you choose. You can stay asleep, and that's fine. But when you sleep, you might as well be dead, because the world's moving a mile a minute. And if you're not on it, you're not woke, it's over. Straight up. That's just what it is, man. I'm not here to try to, make you guys do this or that, but I'm here to raise your level of consciousness so that you can actually be prepared to deal with the world that we're living in today. That is why I started this channel. That's why I'm here on this channel. That's why I tell people to make sure you're tapped in with me, so that we can continue to build on these dialogues and these ideas and these things, so that we can actually make some real movement in this world, y'all. It's not just about being on here talking to y'all. It's about using what we're talking about to make an effective change in this community, wherever you are. I don't care where you are. As long as you're out there trying to make a difference, you're my people. Straight up.
Ideas of nation states and borders have clouded your mind, because in France, y'all's whole economy is anchored on West Africa and France Afrique. Oh, you don't think we know about France Afrique?
You know what's up, Jay?
You don't think we've heard about Burkina Faso? You don't think we know about South Africa? You don't think we know about Kenya, Uganda? Europeans have been benefiting from colonial extraction for so long, and they've only done it in a sense where those extraction patterns happen more outside of the borders of the country. And European countries are the size of American states, sometimes American cities. And so it's essentially like you have these floating states full of white people whose economies, again, are founded on extraction from the third world. And then they have the nerve to be like, but we don't do systemic racism. We have like good labor protections. Europeans have good labor protections. Europeans work less hours in a day. Europeans take siestas. It's like, yeah, because your economy is anchored on industries that are either American or that are, in the third world. Like that's how y'all figured it out. Same way.
All right, so I talk about this a lot on my channel, just because you guys do know I used to have a very extensive career in fashion and corporate fashion, specifically working at the corporate level and understanding how import export works, I watched how brands and people who were owning of brands took that manufacturing from right here in our US soil to go overseas so that they could get a cheaper margin so that they could make more from the consumer, and then as well be able to cut out the United States manufacturers. This is what they were doing to one another. All right. These are American owned companies using resources from overseas to undercut and to backcut everybody else. I watched it. Okay. So when people speak on these type of things from the business perspective and also from the import export perspective, and then to now see how Donald Trump has really used and weaponized these tariffs in the trade wars, it's a huge mistake. And I think a lot of people who don't understand supply chain, import export, and procurement, they will never understand how bad it's going to get. All right. I'm praying for everybody who's down south right now, because there is a huge storm that's coming you guys' way, right? And I watched and saw how all these stores and all these grocery stores are being wiped out. They're being wiped out, empty. People can't even get food and natural, regular necessities. And you don't think that's... I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, because they going to keep messing with my stream if I keep giving y'all the game like this. All right? They gonna shut down my channel, y'all. I can't keep talking about this stuff. I haven't even made it to 1,000 subs yet. And I'm already telling you guys literally like stuff that gets channels literally shadow banned. Like, I don't even know why I'm doing this way, but like I should have probably waited, but I just can't. I gotta stand on business, y'all. I can't just be out here talking about these stupid topics like everybody else, talking about Corey Holcomb and all this other stupid stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I can't do that, guys. I like talking about stuff that makes sense. All right. I like talking about stuff that directly affects us. I like talking about stuff that's real. All right. Not internet beef, man.
The United States figured it out. The United States is a settler colonial project, which is European in origin. White Americans are European, but anti-blackness, oh, that's not relevant. But what black people say, oh, that has nothing to do with Europe. Oh, black people are so sensitive. They're such victims. They're perpetual.
All right. So, Randall, I know this is a great point, but do you know who the president was who did that? It was Richard Nixon. Ain't that crazy? It's been happening for a minute. It was Richard Nixon, though. And Richard Nixon was the first one to really mess up the trade situation for actual US born companies. He was one of the main ones, one of the first ones. Okay. And that's why a lot of people have a certain feeling towards the boomers, because they were the first ones who actually were the ones exporting business to get rich. And then now looking back, we're left with what? We're left with nothing. We're left with no manufacturing at all. We're left with everyone else having a much better infrastructure when it comes to jobs, job placement, and as well job opportunities.
Actual victims.
Crazy.
Okay. Hannah Arendt, everybody's favorite left-leaning thinker, with all the quotes that are...
All right, we're gonna skip through a little bit of this because he kind of goes on like some little rant. But where's the part? Well, yeah. So towards the end of the video, he doesn't really talk about much. So this is kind of the end of it. He's just kind of speaking on figures. But salute to him. I want to make sure I give him credit because, yeah, like y'all said, this was a great video that I came across. His name is Elliot Sang Again. All right, Elliot Sang Again. That's his name. I'm gonna make sure I link the video in the description once we get everything together. All right. So let's make sure. All right, Jen. hey, be careful, JNN, because they're saying that it's gonna be a major storm, like one of the biggest storms in the history of the South. So please be careful if you guys are in the South, any of my subscribers, make sure you guys take care of yourselves, because I was supposed to go on a business trip next week and it got canceled because of this. So I want y'all to know, man, I don't know exactly what's going on, but they are canceling trips and flights and stuff because of the imminent storm that shall be coming soon. So you guys be careful out there. Yeah, make sure you got your canned goods. Make sure you got plenty of water. You know what I'm saying? Water, even if it's cold. I understand that. Make sure you got that on deck. All right. So again, I want to make it clear to you guys that when we get on here as Black Americans, we always are making sure that we are keeping ourselves on code. Hey, salute JNN. Hey, I appreciate you for pulling up. And thank you for subscribing and being super active in the chat, man. Y'all make this so easy for me because I could just express myself openly. I can give y'all the game and I don't have to feel any type of way because y'all get it. These are the type of people I want to connect with. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. I'm not trying to be nobody that I'm not. All I can be is me and bring the consciousness and the understanding to you guys. It's up to y'all, whatever you guys do with it. You know what I'm saying? I put it out here, boom, that's it. I don't think it's snow, bro. Ma'am. Yeah, I don't think it's snow. I think it's ice is what they're saying, like an ice storm. They're saying heavy rains, stuff like that. But I think they were saying it's going to be more ice going towards the east coast of things. So towards like Georgia and over on that wave, there should be, you know, a little bit going on. But salute to all of you guys who pulled up today, man. It's been nothing but good vibes. Even though they was trying to mess with my stream, you know what I'm saying? They was hating on your boy. They was giving me a hard time. We still made it happen. We still made it happen, y'all. So, you know, that's just, I love that type of stuff, man. When things still work out, even though they be hating, we ain't gonna allow them to hate. So applause to all of you guys for such a good stream. You guys are nothing but amazing. We are so grateful we made it through the stream, and you guys really did nothing but show love, man. And I appreciate that, man. I hope you guys continue to subscribe. All right. Make sure you guys show love. Hey, this is the platform. It's not just for me, it's for all of us. All right. We're creating this platform for all of us, not just me. So make sure you guys say subscribe. Make sure you like, make sure you share the video. We trying to grow. So thank you guys so much, man. Really appreciate everything that you guys do. You guys have been amazing, man. The new subscribers are just going up every day. Like I said, I know my channel ain't going to grow as quickly as maybe other channels would, but we're doing it slowly but surely. And that's all that matters, y'all. So salute to everybody out there. Thank you all so much for, you know, tuning in, man, spending some time with me. You know what I'm saying? It's one of my longer streams, 2 hours. I usually try to keep it to an hour, but you know, today I just said, no, we gotta let this just fly. And then if it'll come, it'll come. You know what I'm saying? So salute to everybody. Thank you guys for showing love, man. My name is Brandon B. I'm a part of Elite Media, man. And this is Elite Media. Sweet. Peace. See you all later. I might hop on tomorrow. So keep an eye out for me. I'm trying to do better on my days. And also have an idea every day, Black History Month. I might be doing a live stream every day just because it's Black History Month. You dig? So salute, man. Thank you guys all. And I'm out, man. Peace.